Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So welcome to Entrepreneurial Leaders, and today we have a founder. His name is Jake, and he's the founder of Ciccarelli Public Relations. And Jake, tell us, what are the 5 steps to make a great public relations campaign?
Yes. I mean, I would say, the first thing is the founder. You know what I mean? To being the founder, you have to have a really strong background. And I would say the first step, even for a founder, would be to just get that education, whether that's, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, an associate's degree, just getting that education behind you and kind of learning the academic parts of things is going to be extremely, extremely helpful because, the real world experience and the academic experience, depending where you get your degree and education from, they can really coincide with one another. And then, my next point to that is always building a great network. Talk to journalists, talk to other PR professionals. You don't know who you know that knows somebody, is what I like to say. Your person you're sitting next to somewhere at an event, they might know someone that you have no idea that they know. And that's going to be super, super important to your campaign and just to you being a PR professional overall. And, my next point here is going to be taking feedback seriously, in that sorts of things. So when you build that network and you actually ask people for feedback, take that feedback in, take it seriously, and really apply it to your campaign and apply it to your work that you're working on here. And then, of course, staying on top of trends is going to be so, so, so important. You want all your work in your campaign, in and out of it, to be super relevant to the journalists, to people in the media. So you don't want to, talk to someone like, let's say we have the election coming up, right? You don't want to talk about the Olympics anymore because the Olympics have already passed. Now the news cycle is already onto the election. What's Trump talking about? What's Harris talking about? And these sorts of things. And how does your client or your campaign really fit into that? And then, number 5 is going to be continuing to build your skills throughout your campaign process and just throughout your career trajectory as a public relations professional by stepping out of your comfort zone. Let's say you focus on consumer brands and someone in tech approaches you for something, or, you have 2 clients. How do you kind of marry those clients to then pitch a story to a journalist and, do something effective in the news cycle? So those are my first 5 steps, I would say, to that process.
Brilliant. I love this. So Jake, tell us why you decide to become your own, to start your own agency.
I'm sure a lot of people say, to be their own boss. Of course, a lot of people probably say I started my own agency or my own business just to be my own boss. But I also saw that there was a gap here in the PR market. A lot of places and a lot of agencies and freelancers, they say they work with startups and they help them get the product out there, right? But then you're kind of left with the founder who is maybe giving a quote and these sorts of things. But what has the founder gotten as far as press? And for startups, they're fundraising. They're going out there, they're asking strangers for hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, right? And I think there's this huge gap here where entrepreneurs and startup founders don't have a credibility themselves, but their product might. So when investors are Googling that founder or researching them, they want to see, this founder is an expert in this space. So that's the kind of gap that I identified there with my agency.
I mean, the gap is there for sure.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, when it's in the tech space, in the technology space, people develop the product, okay, but nobody knows them. Nobody knows who they are.
Yes.
They don't have any credibility. So an article in a newspaper, in a magazine, you can leverage the credibility of that publication. And this for a startup, it looks really good it help them to give them more credibility to find funding, but also clients as well.
Exactly.
With PR, if is being used effectively and really powerful, I believe that is one of the But the most cost-effective way
For
of
sure.
tech startups to find the first client, which is a nightmare, is the most difficult thing on earth, is
Yeah.
for a tech entrepreneur to find the first client. When nobody knows them, the product is not even finished yet. There are only few people.
Right.
But if they use PR effectively with very little resources, they can go ahead and, when they find the first, the second, and the third client, then you keep doing the PR, and then you can find the funding because now you have the clients and you have the authority and everything. So yeah, the gap is definitely there. So so basically, yeah, you want to specialize on that in help tech entrepreneurs to find the first client and the first investor to give them credibility. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say any industry too, whether
Not
it's
only
tech or
technology, could
not.
be in
Yeah,
a startup in general, right? Because
yeah,
everybody's facing exactly the same problem.
exactly.
I
And
mean,
I would
that's
say
the main reason why it's an startups in the first place, because nobody knows them because they don't have credibility. If we
exactly.
have credibility, they're not going to be in a startup. They will be selling millions and then.
And that founder really needs that credibility because, when they're talking to investors and asking someone for 100 grand,
Absolutely.
200 grand, they want to see this person's an expert and this person's taken seriously and respected in their space. And I think it was Bill Gates that said it. He said, if I had my last dollar, I would spend it on PR. I think that's what he said. And if don't quote me, but you can maybe 90 quote me, I'm sure there. And reading that, I was like, there's these billionaires who really understand the value of PR. People have had nothing and built something, who understand that value and how it can get you to billionaire, millionaire status, as an individual.
I mean, and let's face it, obviously, I invested in the company. We went to the games development conference, GDC, and yeah, if you have resources, but it's gonna cost you 30K, 50K
Yeah.
to go to those exhibitions. And
Hmm.
if you are starting the company and you have low resources and you cannot afford something like that with a very low budget, with the PR, with the, like you said, in the right, assuming that is the right publication with the right audience. And that's why people should work with an agency like yours, so someone that specializes in point them in that direction, because it's not just, I'm gonna use PR and throw the money. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
You need to find an expert like you who can actually point you in the right direction. Okay, this is the most affordable price for you. We're gonna pitch you this story to this magazine. We believe that you have a chance here. This magazine have your audience out there. So if a piece of you goes to that magazine, that's gonna lead you to find your first client, and like kind of design a strategy. Okay,
Hmm.
because I'm aware of the power, how powerful it is. And
Hmm.
we use in our business, we do a big gala in London. We call it Luxury Business Awards. And we do a lot of PR around our award ceremony. So we understand how powerful it is. And all the awardees, they appear in press releases and raise the level of expertise, credibility, and recognition of all these people that receive the award, that me and my partner Lily give them personally. So we are aware of the power, and also that is not as expensive as other ways to
Right.
find your first client and to find things. And I think when I say no expenses, it's because um, when nobody knows you and you need credibility, is it is you have to pick what is the most cost effective, because everywhere you're gonna go, it's gonna cost money. If
Right.
if you're gonna build your social media and do the followings in whatever Instagram or YouTube or whatever, and build that community and create content, this has a cost. People say, "Well, this is free." Well, it's not free, because you do have to create the content. Somebody has to create the content. The content takes
Uh-huh.
time, and if you don't know how to create it, nobody's gonna follow you, and you're gonna waste a year of your life. So, if you're
Yeah.
good at that, you can do it, but if you're not, you have to make sure. And in that spectrum, we strongly recommend to startup founders to actually talk with an expert like you in PR that can actually guide them in the right direction and design a plan cost effective for the, okay, you know what, let's point in this
Sure.
magazine and this magazine. Once you find the client, we can expand the strategy and we can do more and more. So Jake, so you wanted to decide to start your own company because you want to help people and you want to be your own boss. So the sectors that you retail, tech, any more sector that you prefer to work with? Tell us.
Yeah, I love the consumer brands, of course. That's, that kind of retail
Direct
aspect
to
there.
consumer, yeah.
Yeah, tech is great. I just love something that actually is disruptive because there's a lot of companies out there that say,
Absolutely.
I'm doing this disruptive thing and I'm doing this thing that's really different. Then when you really look at their competitors in that kind of field, it's like an oversaturated market, right? But it's like when someone's kind of like, I always reference like this, like one thing that I heard this one time. It was like, there's these people who have these really, really great ideas, but they're like in like a speck compared to everything else in this kind of startup universe, right? And they're screaming and no one can hear them. But the
Mhm.
publicist is the person there, kind of with the microphone, handing it to them, helping them blast their message out. It's like you're staying there and you're this little guy among all these big beasts in this industry, but you're really doing something that's really cool, but no one will listen to you because all of them are crowding this kind of news cycle. You got to hire the publicist to help you get your voice out there. But I would say anyone who has an expertise or just has a purpose to share, is my main thing here is I want to help people not only, discover what they're good at and their purpose, but also share that purpose with other people. So, I've worked with life coaches and mental health professionals as well, helping them share their message. It's a really great thing and it feels good because when it reaches the right person, that might have been someone's reason to maybe seek the therapy they've been needing or something resonates with someone, they
Absolutely.
feel they're not alone. So, to answer your question, I guess in a shorter way now that I've done my long way is anyone really who's doing some disruptive and can change someone's life.
So tell us about this passion for PR. How come you love it so much? Where did you learn how to do this?
I know. So it was kind of crazy. I grew up wanting to be a broadcast journalist. I wanted to be on
Oh wow,
TV.
you want to be in the broadcast
I
business
did.
like us?
I
Yeah.
did. I wanted to sit there. I wanted to read the
Well, there is no way time
teleprompter.
for you, yeah.
I know. I'm like, you never know. It can always be a career change.
Yeah, did you should start your podcast for you?
Yeah,
A
I
PR podcast, why no? If that's your dream.
exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
I knew I wanted to do something where messages reached people.
Okay, amplify
Help
messages. I
people.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah, amplify messages. But then I was doing a college tour when I was looking at schools, and I actually was touring Syracuse University, which is in my hometown. I'm from Syracuse, New York. And I saw that public relations, and I was like,
Oh
what does
wow.
that mean? What is this? And, because PR is not a big thing in upstate New York, it's not a big city like, New York City or LA or Miami or even like Austin or San Antonio, it's kind of like middle-sized big
Mhm.
cities. We don't have a lot of PR here, from what I know. It's not a well-known thing. Um, and I was like, wait, I was like, I can work with someone who has something really cool to share, help them create a really cool message, and and then pitch that to someone else, and then they read it and they tell people about it. I feel like the middleman
Amazing,
there,
yeah.
and making that connection just is really, really special to me. And I would say, one of the keys to success in learning this is building a network and relying on that network. Leveraging LinkedIn, leveraging networking opportunities. If you're in a space where there are networking opportunities, do it. It's not weird to reach out to people on LinkedIn. People will respond, even though the first 100 maybe won't. The 101st person will. Um,
Absolutely.
and those sorts of things I think are really, really important. And it's about my journey is really about just kind of trying it, failing, see what went wrong, asking for feedback, fixing it, going back and getting back up again and trying until it works, until it succeeds. And when you get to that point of succeeding, it's just is like it's like a huge dopamine hit. Like you're just like on cloud nine, like you've never felt better.
Yeah. Now, Jake, share because sometimes entrepreneurs, they don't embrace PR. I think that they don't understand how powerful is this to help them to grow the business and to help them to actually find this investor or these fair clients. Yeah. And because let's face it, right? The companies and whoever invested in PR is companies that are actually selling over 1 million, right? Because
Yeah.
this is when companies already have the product market fit and they want market share. That's why they go heavily in PR, because they do have budget and they want market share. Now they need authority, they need branding, they need but into the 0 to 1, those companies that go to 0 to 1 million, I'm under the impression with the status founders of the people that we talk about, that the value of PR is not well communicated for them. And in my opinion, PR can do a lot for these founders. They are in the journey from 0 to 1 in order to find the first client and the first investor. So why do you think that that entrepreneurs of the startup founders don't embrace PR as much as they should? What do you think that is the challenge there?
I think PR needs a lot of PR. Is,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah.
yeah, I think the industry itself needs itself to do better. Because, there are people out there who are saying, oh, for $5,000, I guarantee you placement in this and that. And, real PR, there's no guarantee of
You can no
placements.
guarantee.
And I think that's what makes people a little uneasy. And what I've heard from other startup founders is, oh, you do PR, so like, can you get me in Forbes and Business Insider and these things? And it's like, I could, but let's start small first. And a lot of people are impatient and they want success tomorrow. And for PR specifically, I always say it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. I'm not
Exactly.
going
How
to
to
work with
design
you
the
for,
strategy is a
yep.
long term, but will pay off amazingly.
Yeah. And I say for my clients, it's at least a 3-month minimum, when working with me, because month one is really just developing the messaging, understanding your product, what the gap is in the market that you're filling, and what makes what makes your company great, but also what is the founder's background? Do you have a background, let's say, in advertising or sales that we could leverage, position you as this sales expert, and then go ahead and say and tack on, oh yeah, this sales expert also built this, line of, whether this product is whatever it is, I can't even think of a fake product right now. This jewelry line, let's say, it's like this person with a sales background built this jewelry line, and then when the investor looks them up, they're going to see, wow, this person actually built this thing. And it's really about building that initial credibility, starting small, and understanding that PR isn't just getting you in the New York Times. It's not just getting you in, these different things like the LA Times or whatever. It's like, you just got to really start small, sit
And
down,
design a
understand
solid
it.
strategy.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of patience. There's not a lot of patience, especially now with our culture of just kind of like instant gratification of like, I go online, I get this dopamine hit because I'm on TikTok and I see something funny. It's not, PR is not like that. Like, I might tell you your messaging sucks. I might tell you that, and you can take it or leave it. I might go in and tell you, hey, what makes you great? And that's that's a question a lot of people don't want to answer. And a lot of PR people I've heard feel uncomfortable asking, what makes you great? What makes you different? Because they're afraid of offending somebody, or someone doesn't want to feel like, well, what do you mean what makes me great? I'm this, I'm that. It's like, I need to understand what makes you actually great. And yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we can unpack, but I'll leave it there before I go on too many tangents.
100% agree with you. Even goes even worse, right? Because at the end of the day, if your message is not clear, then you're not building a business, you're building a brand. When you're gonna sell, you don't sell your business, you sell your brand. And if this message is not clear, where in the publication out there in the PR, right? In the publications,
Yeah.
what is your message? What your brand is about? Not your business, even your brand. It's about building that brand, because when you're gonna sell the business, the money that they're gonna pay you are gonna pay you for what the brands represent. And they're gonna type in Google and they're gonna
Right.
start to read all these publications. And the message has to be aligned, it has to be congruent, it has to be powerful, it has to be, and you know what? You can get 100 times of the money that you invest in PR if all this is if the message doesn't suck, if you get
Yeah.
advice, you know what I mean? I think that the people, the entrepreneurs, they don't like to take the advice, they don't want to take the feedback and everything. But then when they're gonna set the business, they're like, oh, why they give me so little money? Well, you have a business, you didn't build that brand. And the something more interesting goes, the with art, for example. Okay. How much your art's worth, the artist how much your art worth. You want to know how much your art worth? The more PR news you have about your work.
Mhm.
That's what actually determine the price, because what else will determine the price? If there is no PR that said, okay, this painting was sold for this artist in this much money, how you value so then you have artists out there that want to sell the painting and they have zero PR, and they, well, where this price come from?
Yep.
There's no
And I would
reference.
say too with startup founders, I think starting PR is kind of opening Pandora's box in a sense because it's not we can't always just start from step one. I might have to go into like negative steps here and go back from what you thought I was
Absolutely.
going to start at and say, the core problem here before I get started, the core issue that needs to be fixed is the messaging and the writing on your website, or is, what you're really saying, because
Absolutely.
you might be this, but you're pitching yourself as this. So how do we
Absolutely.
take here and take it there first? And I think that's what we're both kind of,
And at the
getting
end
at.
of the day,
Like,
is like you said, this PR exercise at the end of the day is one of the verticals that help you to build your brand.
yeah.
So on all the startups, the branding which is normal, right? It's not clear. It's a little bit of confusion. They're trying out. I still they don't have clear what market they're gonna offer the products or what problem they're gonna solve. And if someone with the right expertise comes into the mix and can give this founder clarity in the messaging, clarity in the branding, clarity in the strategy that products and services can go ahead in terms and exactly could be even the language in the website could be
Mhm.
and people think what this is not important, or it's not important until the investor comes.
Yep.
But when the investor comes, is gonna read the website, gonna say, guys, you're all over the place. Nobody will buy this, and no point your money there.
Exactly. Yep.
And then you're gonna have you're gonna have the aha moment that day. Wow.
They were right.
From the beginning, I thought that this was not important. Was it? Um, so Jake, tell us um why is so um what is so difficult, right, to make people understand the power of PR?
Oh gosh, I could be here all day talking about just that. I can go back to saying the PR industry needs some PR, but um, I think it's so difficult because specifically with startup founders and entrepreneurs, they already have so many balls in the air. They're already trying to start so many things. They're so uncertain. They don't want to spend the money on things. But I also think that we need to look at ego. We need to look at these things where it's like,
I
this
understand.
is
I agree
my
100%.
company.
I
Yeah,
agree
it's like,
100%.
this is
You
my
don't tell me
thing.
what to do. You cannot tell me what the message. I'm creating this. Uh,
Exactly.
yeah, I agree 100%.
Exactly. And it's not that, like I'm always right or the publicist is always right, but it's, actually thinking and
That's what
considering
you do, guys, all day long.
right. That's what I would say is like, there's a big ego problem, I think, especially people in entrepreneurship
Startup,
all
yeah,
around.
in the startup world, because let's face it, when the company is selling over 1 million and
Yeah,
more, this founder doesn't have ego. That's why he's making 1 million.
right.
Because he's able to listen, he's able to be coachable, he's able to take advice. That's why he's making millions, and that's why now he's ready to invest more in PR, and then gonna bring someone like you, and you're gonna talk to that person. The person gonna be listening,
Yep.
but that's the reflection, okay?
Yeah.
That on the other hand, we have the founders, some founders, yeah, that they have this ego. This is my company. This is my message. I know it all, and it's very difficult to tell them, look, it's your company, but we do this all day long.
Exactly.
And if you don't communicate this clear, it's not gonna work.
And I always say that the most intelligent thing a person can do and believe is saying, I don't know what I don't know.
And
And
listen next, absolute 100%.
yeah.
And be able to listen and be able to be coachable. That's why you bring an expert, yeah. And I think
Mhm.
that some founders, they see, no, I came in Jake and he's telling me what to do. It's not about that. And this Jake is more smarter than me. No, Jake is not smarter than you. You could be
Right.
as smart as Jake. He's not here to take your position. He's not here
Yeah.
to run your company. He's
Hmm.
here to advise you in what will be the backbone of your company. That
Hmm.
if it's not structured properly, you're gonna have a backbone that is not gonna be straight, and this is
Right.
full. This is
Yeah.
painful, very painful, because you cannot build the brand effectively with the right strategy, with the right message and everything. And the more you grow with this back pain, backbone, which is not straight, the more pain you're gonna suffer. So rather than see you as, they need to see you as an expert, as somebody that comes to design a strategy to release the pain and to
Hmm.
make the path more effective. The other day, an entrepreneur in this podcast, we were talking, and he told me, Harry, tell me, what are the fastest way to go from point A to point B? And I'm
Hmm.
like, well, the straight line. I told me, no, the path with less resistance. But he told me, think about the river, yeah. And so what we have with Text Founder is that Jay will come to help you to design that path with less resistance, so you can achieve better from point A to point B.
Hmm.
But they don't see that because it's an ego in between. And unfortunately, and this is what happened after a year, you will hear that the company is not around anymore. And this
Yeah.
is reality. Whether the other people that surrendered that ego, that surrendered that egocentric
Mhm.
mindset, are actually the people that are winning, are actually the people that they making multi-millions, are actually the people that
That's hard.
uh,
That's hard to say I have an ego and I need to set it aside. That's
we
really
all
hard.
have. We all have.
Exactly.
When I started my company, I was at the beginning like that. Like, I know everything, and this is my company, and everybody had to do what I say. Guess what? It was
Yep.
exhausted. Uh,
Yeah.
it was exhausted. I was working like 14 hours a day with no stopping Monday to Sunday. I'm like, I'm tiring. I'm making a lot of money, but I cannot even breathe, doing everything.
Yeah.
And once you surrender to all that, and you say, you know what, I need help. Then I start to hire people. And guess what? When I start to hire people to work for me, everybody was better in the job of everything than me. Everybody. I was, they were better than me at everything. When
Yeah.
they were better than me in sales. When I hired my sales team, they were selling my product faster and more expensive, which I
Hmm.
couldn't believe that could be done. Well, they did it and so easily that I was shocked. Accountancy people were amazing as well, better than me, and were talking a lot of time. Every word that I saw in the company, when the people came to my company, they were all better than me. To a point that one day I was not in the company. I arrived to the office and they told me, Harry, go home. We don't need you anymore. I'm like, what? No, go home.
Like, this is mine. You're
Take
like,
a
why am
holiday.
I?
I'm like, but I
Yeah.
created, said, take a holiday, go. We don't need you.
Oh my.
We're running without you. I'm like, what? Yeah, go home. And I went back home because I literally nothing to do. So the whole point is that that's how you bring experts, that's how you create that culture in your company. You need to have good people around your company that have the right experience, that can guide you. And if the entrepreneurs manage to surrender that ego and find experts in every single area of the company, even if it's in a startup, they will find out this path with less resistance. Yeah.
Yes.
And let me tell you, PR will give you credibility. That's the other thing. And so you want to be in business, okay. But if you're in business, you need to sell a product. But if you don't have credibility, if nobody have any reference of you, you you don't have that trust, you don't have that credibility, especially if it's a high ticket pro. So that's why PRs come very handy, because you can actually leverage the authority of that publication, which is huge
Yeah.
for people starting on the business.
Mhm.
So I think that any plans, Jake, for you to do webinars or to do workshops or to do
Oh,
like kind of education, like the PR need not PR, which I love it what you said, and I agree
yeah.
100% with you. Yeah.
I would say, I've definitely thought about doing almost like a boot camp for entrepreneurs, almost like an
Yeah, great
accelerator of some
idea.
sort. I don't have enough interest from those who have the, capital put, towards these sorts of things. I have people in my network right now who are super early stage who haven't raised any money yet, who can't really put the $500, towards a little boot camp. But I'm so open to it, of course. And if I get enough interest, then I'd be open to doing, my
For
first
sure.
one free and saying, here's a free workshop, give me feedback as an exchange, and then I make it better, then I go try to sell it or somewhere. So, I got to do my own PR too, which is hence why I'm on the show today.
So we congratulate you. Well done. Yeah,
PR.
this is also
Thank you.
important. PR needs more PR, because you
Thank
guys be busy helping other people, that you also need to help yourself, right?
you.
Yeah,
Exactly. Especially being an agency founder, you got to get my name out there, my credibility, of course. You got to practice what you preach. So I'm trying to do that,
absolutely.
of course, by pitching
Absolutely.
myself alongside my clients, and whatnot. So it's definitely an exciting journey. And I started it earlier this year. So I'm excited to see where it goes after the first year is officially, at its end.
So is anyone in your family is an entrepreneur? What happened what happened your mom and dad when you told them that you starting your own agency?
Yeah. So
Were
my
they
dad
happy or they are
actually.
concerned?
They're both really, really happy. So my
I'm
mom's
glad.
background is in food management, restaurant management, and my dad's background is in entrepreneurship. He owned his own store, so he had
Wow.
a store in downtown Syracuse. So if anyone here is watching from Syracuse,
Yeah.
it was all Chase Bank building downtown. He had that for I think um, about 20 years, 21 years, and then of course, as things happened, like they opened like a Rite Aid around the corner and like a Jimmy John's across the street, and like downtown
Yeah.
became more lively. That just wasn't a sustainable business to have anymore. So I have that spirit of being my own boss and kind of running my own thing here. And,
You saw your
you know,
dad since you're a
yeah,
kid, right?
yeah, yep, that's it. And, my oldest brother, he flips houses and stuff, so he's his own boss.
Wow,
So
really?
we have it in the family, of course, but
In
no
the
one's
genes.
done no one's done anything that's made them $1 million yet. So I think we're all kind of in a competition to see who can make their first million, and go pretty quick, because we didn't come from money. We didn't come from a family where it said
Absolutely.
we're going to cut you a check of $30,000 every year just to go to school and whatever. We came from a family where you work for what you have. I got a job when I was 15. You
Wow.
work for having your money, you pay your own car, you pay
Mhm.
your own bills. That's where we
Yeah.
came from. And you're
Nobody give you a
16.
check in a silver plate to start off, yeah?
Yeah, and that's the best money to be made, is like I earned
Yeah.
this, started from this, and here I am.
But also, you will discover that, that the beginning you're making a big deal. We want to make $1 million, but at the end of
Yeah.
the day that you make it, you will, it lasts less than 72 hours. You're gonna
Yep.
be like, now what, So it's more important the journey, more important. I see you very happy. It's more important that you do what you love. It's more important that you help the people that actually appreciate your work,
Mhm.
appreciate who you are. um we don't want this light that you have as an entrepreneur, that you want to help people. that a founder with ego goes there and tell you, oh yeah, you X, Y, and Z, and then you believe what this guy is saying, put you down. You don't need any of this. You are in a position that you are very good at what you do. I can tell because I'm on the space. Just by the way you speak, you know what you're talking about very well. And find the people that love work with you.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and stick with them and enjoy the process. The million is gonna come. Trust me.
I
It's
know. I'm excited.
faster than you even think. Yeah. It's just try to in that process, right? I don't do what I did at the beginning, that you have this ego, gonna do this. It's painful, it's tiring,
Yeah.
and it
Mhm.
doesn't let you anywhere. Can
Yep.
even get you sick. Yeah, I don't
Yep.
know. I was so exhausted. I don't know how. Not even I was lucky that I was very young back in the day. Yeah, when I was
Mhm.
doing these endless hours that was leading nowhere. Actually, it was actually exhausted. So try to have remember what I shared with you, the path with less resistance. Yeah.
Yes.
And find that amazing clients and that amazing thing and take your time, and you will see it's gonna be amazing and see a lot of a big bright future for you and for your company. Take
Thank
it
you.
easy and have fun. Yeah, it's not about
I will.
pushing yourself to make the million, because we don't want you to stress out, we don't want you to sick, we don't want you to we have interviews in this podcast, multi-millionaires, that the one of them the other day, he told me that he was throwing out blood because he owned 3 businesses and it was so much pressure and everything. And the guy said, hold on, I'm running this business not running me, because the business can kill you.
Mhm.
There's so many that literally can kill you because it's so
Terrible.
many people. So we have to have the right mindset to build the business, to have fun, and to make the million easy and
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Hire Jake, and that way you won't be throwing up blood if you're really
absolutely,
stressed. Hire Jake
absolutely.
for it. No,
So
but
Jake,
yeah,
somebody
I love
want to
it.
hire you. Tell us. If somebody want to hire you,
Yeah.
how they can find you, how the process work.
Yeah, so it's a very easy process. My website is jakeciccarellipr.info. If you go to my website,
Brilliant.
um, my email is jake@ciccarellipr.info. So I made it very simple. It's literally just my name. If you also just search me, you'll find me on LinkedIn. Connect with me there, and I always do a free 30-minute call just to see if we're even a good fit for each other. If I don't think I can do something, I won't. And yeah, it's a very, very easy, simple onboarding process. We check each other out. I always say we kind of sniff each other out. You see if you like me, I see if you like you. And then from there, we'll decide our next steps and goals, and if I can be part of that journey and helping you reach them.
Absolutely, Jake. Thank you so much for the interview. Have been fantastic. We wish you well. And for all of you following Entrepreneurial Ego podcast, see you in our next episode. How brave entrepreneurs like Jake are starting and growing the business. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.